I'm just thinking about this, and I'm just like, Marvel, you ain't got the balls to do anything, anything really, really just out there. Marvel came up to me personally, unzipped their pants, and was just like, boom.
What kind of movies are we reviewing here?
It's all right, man. It's all right. It's okay, man. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. I promise. I promise. Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Cast. I'm Mike. This is Bill. He just needs a moment. We just got out of seeing Infinity War, and it just he just needs some time to.
I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be all right.
You gonna be all right?
I'll be okay.
Yeah, you can keep that. Just yeah.
I'll keep it handy. I'll be all right.
All right. Yeah. Good.
So wait, here's a question.
Did
this one bring it back more? Did the Infinity War bring it back more? Did it keep it on track? Like we said, Black Panther brought it back on the road.
Yeah, you can't bring
it. Did it bring it back on the road? Is it going the right direction?
You didn't crash and burn with this one, Marvel. I am fairly impressed, and I will say that this movie does bring it back on the road.
Okay,
you might have scraped the guardrail a little bit with
lost a little paint on that front bumper, a little bit on that front panel.
Fell asleep at the wheel real quick.
A little bit. Like, it happens. It happens.
Okay, but I will definitely say that I am impressed with what they have done with Infinity War. I went into this movie and honestly, I was expecting kind of the same thing I was kind of expecting with, I will say two particular team up movies. I'll say Avengers Age of Ultron. I will say I kind of got what I was expecting to a certain degree, but that's in, like I said, that's in that whole phase 2 era again. But, and then Justice League. I was like, okay, kind of got what I was expecting here. You team up movie, stuff happens. There's a evil intergalactic bad guy, or in case of Age of Ultron, it was a bad guy they made up.
Well, and I'll be honest, but hang on. In Justice League, it was the snake dancing witch girl. I mean,
that was what's the name? That was Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Okay, sorry, Suicide Squad. You're right. Yeah, that was that's completely different. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're right.
So I was just like, okay, intergalactic bad guys comes down. This guy, everyone's got to team up, and we gotta, get joined. Right. We gotta get the band back together and fight this dude or whatever. And that's kind of what I was expecting. I was like, I don't know how they're gonna do this for like 2+ hours or whatever. It was around 2 hours. What was the runtime?
It was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
it was 2.5 hours.
Well, we'll see. I was wondering if it's like, is it going to be one of those things like he doesn't show up until like close to the end? Is it going to be like a whole like progression? Like, oh, he's getting
nope,
no.
And that's one of the things I jotted down. And again, I mean, part of it I didn't jot a lot of stuff down like they do, just because. Well, there was a lot going on because I mean, 2.5 hours still a lot going on.
Yes,
and I didn't jot down a lot of stuff. There was a lot of good. I didn't specifically say, I did do a few bits and pieces here, but and there was a few bad, but and none of them are spoilers.
Right.
So
that's fine.
I can talk about
this is a non-spoiler review, just so you know.
No
non-spoiler.
The bad weren't too bad, but that's one of the good things was the beginning was like you're in the movie, you're in the middle, boom. There's no explanation. You hear the, talking about what's going on, and then boom, there's Thanos.
Yeah.
You see there's people on the screen. They're going. You get into getting to know the guy, and really, this is Thanos' movie. If you think about it, it really focuses on Thanos.
Definitely,
because it's his origin story, and Gamera's a little bit, or Gamora's. I think Gamera's the Godzilla villain.
Yeah,
that's different. I mean, they probably spelled the same way, but they just pronounced differently. So you're like immediately thrown into like a dark, like foreboding beginning to this thing, and kind of the way the bad guys are talking and acting and just the whole thing.
Yes, and it's you start this movie and you're right in it. You're right in it. It's almost as if, and this is the one thing I'll say that the Russos do pretty decent sequels and stuff, and in terms of like paying attention to where things are and then like timeline wise or whatever, because this movie almost like picks up right after Thor Ragnarok. It's like Thor Ragnarok happens, and you're just
literally.
like, boom.
Yeah.
All right, we're right after. And you immediately like, okay, I see what's happening now and everything like that. For me, I don't know how you felt about this, but for me, other than the opening, I felt like the second half was better than the first. Right. Yeah, I would say like second half, maybe a little bit more than the second half was better than the first. Other than the beginning, like the opening, I was like, okay, we're right in this. Okay. I also like that you said like, and it goes back to what I was saying. Like, how are you gonna pad this out for 2 hours?
Right.
You made it Thanos' movie.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't look at my watch one time. I mean, probably closer to the end. Just because we kind of felt the movie was wrapping up. I think you said you looked at it during the
credits. Yeah, I went to look at it. Yeah,
right. But yeah, I was looking up here that the Russos did Winter Soldier and they did Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So they pulled that together. So pretty nicely, I think.
Good attention to detail. I'll say that much on their part. They do it. They have a good attention to detail. They're able to bring back certain things from other movies that aren't even theirs,
right.
But they're able to use that and incorporate that, and actually, you can actually, if you've watched up until this point,
they did watch all the movies. They knew exactly what was going on. They went back and watched them all.
Yeah, and
because I was like, because when we were talking about afterwards when stuff was happening, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I was like, cool. I didn't think about that, but that's cool because it didn't it didn't leave me like a gnawing thing in my brain going like, wait a minute, something's not right. No, it actually was right, and it might be part of the reason why we were like, oh, yeah, this one really works. Yeah. We're like, oh wow.
Yeah, and just like there's certain things like character choices and stuff, and
Spot on.
just like even stuff that happens within the story that you're just like, oh, this is a callback to okay, I see what's happening here. I'm like, okay, good job, Bruce. Good job on that. What'd you think about the visual effects?
Well, I was going to say the good things were the effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until we got to the end, that was one of the bad bits about it. Yeah. But the action was spot on. And
yes.
And the other thing is with the effects, even when, because again, it's not a spoiler. You see this in the previews when the aliens are attacking Wakanda. You see this on the close-ups of the aliens. I mean, on the screen they were as big, and I looked and I was like, holy crap, that looked really real.
Yeah.
Now obviously if you have a DVD, you can pause it and kind of nitpick it or something.
Right.
The action was great. And I loved they knew how to use, just the blind action of, they're in the middle of the combat and so on and so forth.
It was chaotic.
It was
but
chaotic.
Not so much that you couldn't tell what was going on.
Right. But it was chaotic in that way. You're like, like Falcon is up there and all of a sudden you're like, oh, and it's like, and Captain America is kicking butt and you're like, oh no. And you're like, oh my God. And then, Banner was I don't know, can we say that? Is that a spoiler? I don't know. Can we say that? Because that's kind of a spoiler, isn't it? I don't know. Because people would think somebody else was doing that. Is that a spoiler?
Nah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right. So Bannon is actually in the Hulkbuster armor. What? Banner. Sorry, not Banner. That's a different guy. He's not in the Hulkbuster. So yeah, Dr. David Banner is in the Hulkbuster armor. And that's kind of some funny bits that work. That's some of the funny bits that work. That's kind of like one of the bad bits at the end where he had the helmets off and
yes, and it's
and you could tell it's not really him in the armor because it's computer generated. And I'm like, oh Lord. And we were like, why not just because we know that there's got to be a suit of armor that they've alady made, or like you said, get a fan guy who some of these guys make some amazing things, and I've seen guys who have like armor that size, maybe not that specific kind, but they're in the huge suit and it looks awesome. Yeah. So get the suit and that way, and then add the effects in, and you can add them to sound effects or whatever.
And he's not that's the thing, he's not moving.
Right, yeah.
He's not
but just
moving.
That the very end you see Banner in the Hulkbuster armer and you just see his head kind of sticking out. And it's really
it's
funny.
Like doing this little
it's funny looking.
Like
it's
the suit's not.
I know it's kind of funny. But like I said, the comedy was good. The surprises were really good. You're like, what? The surprises were really good. The action was great. Effects were great. Except for that little bit, like you said.
And the the one thing I will say, like the Russo brothers, they did really well in Winter Soldier in terms of like their fight scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Civil War, I don't know what somebody was thinking, but what they actually did in Civil War, like they're shaking cam in both of those movies.
Right.
But I don't know what someone was thinking in post or whatever. They're just like, oh, let's shake this up a little bit more. Now, they toned that down at the end of Civil War, like at the second half of the movie. It's almost like two different people were directing action.
Right.
But this movie, it's pretty spot on. I mean, like you said, you can see everything that's going on, even as chaotic as it is, even as like people are, running across the screen fighting and stuff like that. And people are doing flips and stuff like that. You can see what's happening and you can make out everything. So when something hits you, you're like, ooh, yeah.
They slowed it down at perfect moments.
Yes.
And they kept it going at perfect moments.
Yes.
Now, some of the things I think were bad. Well, the ass joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, really? Come on.
Yeah.
There's an ass joke. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Giggle, whatever. And then can I talk about this one?
Yeah. Give one second. Let me
sure.
Because you mentioned like the ass joke or whatever.
Yeah.
There was only there was that joke. Even though after I did admit to myself like, okay, this actually is funny, but the with Drax pretending he's invisible. Yes, there's a scene where he's pretending he's invisible or whatever.
That's funny.
It's funny, but it's one of those like you came at the wrong time because I was really feeling this little touching moment because you don't have a lot of that just dealing with the Guardians. And I was like, you don't have a lot of that in Guardians of the Galaxy because they're comedies. So I'm just like, you have this nice little touching moment here and everything, and it's just like. I knew it was coming. I'm sitting there. I'm just like, where is it?
Yep.
Where is it? Where is it? There it is.
There it is. It's right there.
So and there was only maybe there was one other one that I saw, and I don't even remember it. So it's not even that important or whatever.
But the ass joke to me was like, I'm like, come on. Seriously? So it's like you said, you get to learn more about the character Thanos a little bit. Also the universe and the Infinity Stones and just all of that. And
it's not like it's forced exposition either. It's not like it's just like, oh, we're stopping this movie to tell you a story or whatever. It's actually, I will actually say that, okay, the times where you're actually sitting down and you're learning something, I was like, okay, it feels pretty seamless. You're like, it's part of the story. It feels like it's part of the actual interaction that's happening. So that's one of the things I think that they did really well with this film.
Well, all right. So, and there's a part of the movie, and it's not really a spoiler. Thanos is with Gamora.
Yeah. Okay.
And okay, so Thanos is, the movies. He's collecting Infinity Stones. But anyway, so Gamora is with him, and they're on his ship, and they're in the throne room, and she's talking about how much she hates the throne room, et cetera, et cetera. But Thanos is kind of talking to her like a dad talks to a daughter, which is kind of like, it's a little Brady Bunch-ish, but then he sits down instead of on the throne, he sits down on the steps going up to the throne. And I just was like, is he going to start whittling and talking about, and I said this to you, laugh. I was like, it's kind of like he was Andy Griffin, Sheriff Andy Taylor, talking to Opie, and it was I'm like, where are they going? This is really weird because it felt awkward, and I'm like,
it was
what is going on? Am I dreaming or what? That was the part that I thought was the weirdest part of this movie because I'm like, he's explaining and talking like a father talks to a daughter, essentially, or a maniacal crazy father or madman father would talk to his rather
but he
bent
does
daughter or unhinged daughter.
He just gives off this vibe. It was just like.
I thought he was going to pull out a stick and a knife and start whittling and like, well, tarnation, let me start talking about that. Like
back in my day.
Yeah, it's like his Uncle Jed talking to Ellie Mae. He's like, Ellie Mae, sometimes you got to court them boys. I'm just like, because honestly, I didn't know what I was like, why is he sitting on the step? Because that makes him, and to me, it felt awkward because it made him like a normal guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, and this
is he a normal guy?
The one thing I will say about this movie, because it does focus on Thanos a lot, is like they almost try to humanize him a little bit, and
they made
almost too much.
Yeah, that was almost too much moment.
Yeah,
because there were parts of the movie you're like, okay, you're trying to make me identify because you're building the character up because you got to we got to buy into it, especially if
Right.
you're going to do another one. You know?
Exactly.
So we got to go, okay, so we got to care about this character in some way. Either hate him, love him, ambiguously, whatever.
Right.
And then go, well, what's next? So what happens? Is he done, or what else is he going to do? And then you think he's a certain way, and then you go, oh, well, he's not a certain way. Or you might go, well, why doesn't he just do this? And like I told you, there's a couple of incidents where I'm like, he's not really doing. He's kind of playing or toying with them, like
Right.
they're insects beneath him. But then he realizes, oh wait a minute, no, they actually could win, so I better start getting serious.
Right.
And so that was like, okay, so he's flawed. Like, okay.
And one thing I will like, I'm like, he's not full on God complex. He's not like, he's not Apocalypse from X-Men Apocalypse. He's
Right.
not full of just preachy type person or whatever. Like, he's actually like the fact that they do ground him a little bit actually does help out with that. Like I said, they go a little bit too far as to make him like, okay, you could literally just be another guy walking down the street. I mean, he
Right.
looks like he got out of prison anyways.
Yeah. But the other thing was like, when he has conversations with like Doctor Strange and Stark and whatever these other people, and I'm like, he's just talking to him like a guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, saying, oh,
Yeah.
I remember you too, or blah blah blah.
That was kind of weird. He's
Yeah,
I was
like,
I remember
what?
you. Like,
Okay,
huh?
so he's like a
Well,
stalker
why?
now or something. I don't know. It's like kind of weird.
He's like
like-
he's like that dinosaur in Jurassic World, just creeping in the window.
Yeah. Oh my god, that trailer, man. Oh my god, I it was like Freddy Krueger the dinosaur or something. I'm like, Lord, that was so funny. But again, it's kind of like we talked about before. This movie and many other movies suffer from this of everything happens very conveniently. It's either circumstance or happenstance or just blind luck that these things happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's like,
There's one that's pretty painfully obvious in there. It's just like, all right, it's just like, oh, we have to do this. Well, in order to get this, you have to do this. I'm like, oh, well, good thing I just happen to have this.
right,
with me.
well, I happen to have this thing with me. And I'm like, oh, really? Come on.
I was like, just once, I would just like it for me to be like, oh, to get this, you have to do
right.
this.
It's
Dang,
like,
I gotta go back
dang,
to
I
the
left it at home. It's like, aren't you ready yet? Come on, we got to go.
I'll be back. just
Yeah.
hold on. Just hold on. I'll be right
I don't know.
back.
It's like unlike a video game when you have to go find the
Yes.
blue key card to get into the room. It's like, nope, you always got the blue key card.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my goodness. So that's the thing. I just and I understand it to some degree, but it just seems like that's kind of the fallback they have. That's the kind of the easy explanation. Is like, oh well, it just had to be at the same time. I'm like, but that's just too convenient. It's too easy.
Yes.
It's kind of like when which is the Avengers, yeah, the
which one?
the actual Avengers.
Okay. Yeah.
When David Banner says, "I'm always angry,"
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's how he is always the Hulk. And who was it? Was it Ang Lee or somebody who had directed one of the other Hulk movies? And they're like, "Oh no, that's too easy." Or maybe it was the guy who was the Hulk creator, not Stan Lee, but one of the other guys. He was like, "Oh, that's too easy," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I agree. It's too easy." Like, well, I'm always angry. I can just turn to the Hulk, and I'm like, "Oh, that is kind of weak. That is kind of easy. I don't know."
That particular moment in that movie didn't bother me as much because I kind of related it back to what happened at the very end of the Incredible Hulk.
No, but I'm saying is that kind of thing is that sort of easy explanation about why something happens.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is good.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
not. It's not. It's to your point in Avengers where you have like you kill the main thing, everything else dies. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it happens in just about every movie, in
Yeah.
alien movies all the time. You blow up the mothership, everybody else dies.
Yeah.
You blow up the head, controlling alien entity hive mind, and all the rest go, "Whoa," and
Yep.
they can't figure out what to do, and they kind of kill themselves, or a lot of times they kill themselves, attack each other, or they just kind of fall off and get brain fry or something.
I will say that for this movie, because I talked a lot about like humor and like interjecting and stuff later, there was some of that in the first half, and that's probably what weakens the first half a little bit for me. Not saying it was bad.
Right.
I was just like, there was a little bit of that in the first half, but in the second half, I don't know when it took off, but at some point they were just like, we need to stop playing around. Because there was just like moments I'm just like, I'm gripping my chair right now. I'm still gripping my chair.
Right. And that makes it good because, like I said, then you're not checking what time is it. I'm bored.
Yes.
I mean, I was not bored. I wasn't like, wow, is this movie 2.5 hours?
I didn't feel it.
I was like, oh.
Didn't feel it.
No.
Didn't feel it. Like I said, there was moments where I'm just like, I was genuinely like, I'm feeling something here. And I'm just, and after a while, I stopped looking. But, you know, I was looking for something like, where's the goofiness? When was it going to happen? But after a while, I stopped looking because I got so, I guess, pulled in to what was going on. I'm like, I'm actually enjoying myself right now. It's just like I'm able to. So that's why, like, I feel like this movie is just like, okay, yeah, they scraped that guardrail a little bit, brought it back Black Panther, and here they're just like, all right, I'm still weaving it just a little bit, but now I'm at least I'm back on the road anyway.
Right.
You know, I'm still weaving a little bit, but I'm back on the road. It had a pretty ballsy ending.
It did. Well, I was gonna say before that, I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah.
But I know, like, when you have, because like in any movie, Marvel, you know, is no exception. But you'll have the many things that build up.
Yes.
Right. And the things that built up, for example, the first one was surprising.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, and you know, because the thing that happened, you're like, I thought for sure it wouldn't work out that way. Whereas the second one, again, I was surprised. I was like, I thought for sure this thing would happen the opposite way.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wow, okay.
It subverts your expectations,
Right.
but it does it in the right way.
Well, and then what it did is it built, yeah, like I said, and then it gives you that feeling of, okay, our good guys are gonna come out on top because Thanos and his people aren't 100% invulnerable.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, because that would be pain. Because like, okay, well, why are we even doing that? Why don't I just, you know, go to a beach and just have margaritas until we die or something?
Exactly.
So, but that's the thing. It's like, okay, cool. So that was the thing that bothered me, not bothered me, but surprised me. Because like I said, there were plenty of surprises, and I was like, wow, I thought for sure this one, the first, not half, but the first third, I guess.
Yeah.
That first bit. I was like, wow, I thought for sure this would have turned out way differently. And then the second bit, I thought, oh, wow, this is not going to turn out good for the heroes. And it turned out really good for the heroes. And I'm like, what? I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. And
I was scratching my head. I was like, wow, this is unexpected. And so that I thought was cool. And then, like I said, the end you said was
they had a real when I was getting prepared for this, getting prepared for the movie, but like getting dressed and stuff like that, I'm just thinking about this, and I'm just like, Marvel, you ain't got the balls to do anything, anything really just out there, man. They pulled out. They Marvel came up to me personally, unzipped their pants, and was just like, boom.
What kind of movies are we reviewing here? Feeling a little awkward here.
That whole playing it safe thing.
No. And we're scratching our head like, what are they gonna do for the next one? We're like,
but
well, how do you what? I'm like, oh, and I was scratching my head again. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and like what? All right, look, your internet, you're smart people. Well, most of you are. Some of you I don't know about, but like internet, you're smart people. You know that there's people that are going to die in this movie. It's no secret that there's been like, everyone's talking about it. Who's going to die?
Hey, I wasn't fake crying for no reason.
But
it was very, there was a couple, and I was like, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was a group of people, and I was like,
yeah. There was one in particular that got me.
I was like,
yeah, there was one in particular that got me. They don't pull their punches on this one, and I appreciate that.
Right.
I actually clapped. No one else clapped because everyone was feeling some kind of way.
Yeah, we were like, and there were people. You said there was a girl behind you crying or something.
Yeah, there was a girl behind us crying, like when a particular character bit it. But
right. Well, I didn't say anybody died. I just said some bad things, sad things.
Bad things do happen.
So
they don't pull punches.
If y'all wanna yell at somebody in the comments,
yell at me.
Because I'm not saying anybody died. I'm just saying I was very sad about stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just my issues. I don't know. But we did have some fun. This movie was fun.
Yes.
It was our afternoon. I mean,
yeah.
And good thing it's summertime because it's still sun out.
Still sun out.
Or not sun timber time, but it's getting there. But
yeah. And also, like, going back to what we were saying about phase one is knowing how to balance the fun and the seriousness.
Right.
This movie knew how to do that. And I can honestly say, like, if I were to go see this again, if I had the opportunity to go see this again, I probably would. It is one of those, it does have one of those endings. And to be honest, I think like this ending, a similar ending should have happened with Civil War, in my opinion. Not in the context of what happened, but
I totally get it.
I was like, man, you got it right.
But let me ask you this. All the movies that have come out so far, after you saw them, did you say, gee, I can't wait to see the next one? Or feel that way? Because I bet you do about this one.
I do about this one.
See, that's what, yes, me too.
I do.
I'm like, I cannot wait to find out what happens next.